Coming up on EPFA News. Another shining example of the great young players we have in the sport. Two brothers from Germany playing together for club and hoping to also for country. Another young self-assured player from Northern Ireland. We hear from this ambitious player and marketing and communications officer with his club. And we hear firsthand the immense impact one person can have on so many. Welcome. This is EPFA News. Another great representation here of the fantastic young players we have in the sport.
I first got involved with power chair football through another sport called boccia, where some of the people that I was playing against were talking about it, and I overheard it and I asked some questions about it, and one of them offered me to go and have a look at the Lothian Wolves, which is the club that I play at. I've been involved in sport for about 2.5 years now, but obviously with lockdown it's hindered my playtime, so I've not really played in about a year. So it's a bit annoying, but I'm looking forward to getting back on the pitch as soon as possible. I play for the Lothian Wolves. We're based in Edinburgh. We train at the Orium at Heriot-Watt University. Playing in the Scottish Premiership is quite enjoyable, but difficult at the same time, because we're not long in the Premiership. We just got promoted the season that I joined the club, but I feel like we're doing alright considering. The thing that excites me the most about power chair football would probably be the factor of being able to actually play football, because I love football, and if I wasn't disabled I would be wanting to play normal professional football, but even to have the chance to play any form of football excites me. Another thing that excites me about it is probably the factor of the teamwork, because I like to be able to socialise and be involved with a team. As well, I like the aspect of the pace of the game, because it's a nice and difficult game to play with a high tempo, and it's just really enjoyable. My most memorable match and my most memorable goal would probably be my debut, where I scored a hat-trick, which is pretty good, not going to lie. But the first goal was my favourite one, because everyone who plays football would obviously relish their first goal more than any other goal that they score. That's what I personally think anyway. The thing that I would like to achieve personally would be getting into the Scotland squad, because who doesn't want to play for their national team? The player that I admire the most in power chair football would probably be Chris Jacquin, who's a fellow teammate of mine, and he's a Scotland international as well. The reason for that would be because when I first started the sport, he's the player that mainly mentored me and kind of explained the game to me out with the coach the most. The things that I like to do in my free time would be playing my Xbox, playing another sport called bocce, watching the football, especially watching Liverpool play, and that's about it really. The thing I look forward to 2021 for the most is getting back to power chair football, hopefully, and also getting a new strike force, which will hopefully be delivered soon. Thanks for watching and thanks for interviewing me. It's been a pleasure. And let's just hope that 2021 is a better year than 2020.
Two brothers from Germany tell us about their club and their aims and hopes for 2021.
Hello, my name is Steffen and I play for the Knights Barmstedt.
Hi, my name is Malte and I'm the captain of the team.
We heard some about power football in autumn 2015 and bought a ball for power football to try it. In 2016 we start with some exercises at our trainings.
Now we got involved since 5 years in power football. We founded our team in 2009 and as a leisure group, and in 2011 we joined the sports club Barmstedt EPFA. Our team was successful in power hockey in 2016. We started with power football. Currently we are 8 players between 13 and 31 years and train every Saturday.
In 2019 the first power chair football Bundesliga was held. 4 teams took part in the championship and we are able to secure the title. Our biggest rival are the Power Lions from Dresden.
We only compete with each other at our trainings or on video games in our free time.
We admire players like Chris Gordon or Brian Weiss. We would like to win the next championship and like to be a part of a national team.
In our free time we play some video games, visit concerts, meet friends, watch movies and series. That the league can start and get new teams in Germany, stay healthy and Corona goes away.
We hear now from a very self-assured young man who takes his inspiration from goalkeepers.
My name is Sean McKinney, I'm 13 and I play for Trailblazers in Northern Ireland Power Football. There was a Disability Sports Fun Day in 2017. I tried lots of different sports, but power was my favourite, and a few weeks later I got invited to train with Trailblazers and I've been playing as a goalkeeper ever since. So it was formed in 2009. We have roughly about 10 members and we train nearly every Friday night. The meeting new people, the competitiveness and the traveling to different venues for matches and tournaments. I have a few, but probably the Finland match when we qualify for the World Cup. It makes me feel proud and happy that I was considered good enough to play for the team. I would like to improve and keep training and doing my best and winning trophies, and I want it to be put into the Paralympics. I admire nearly everybody, but most definitely the goalkeepers, so Chris Gordon. I like to play video games, watch YouTube, and watch the Belfast Giants ice hockey team. I want things to go back to normal, and I want to be training and playing as soon as possible.
This captain of his championship club in the UK tells us how he got involved, who he admires and working on mental health issues.
I first got involved with wheelchair football when I was about 17, just turning 18 actually. My social worker at the time had told me about taste sessions that was happening in my local area when a wheelchair football club was, at the time, a team was wanting to be formed. It was Andy Fox and Charlie Fox. They contacted the WFA in England, and Ricky Stevenson and a couple of players from Nottingham came to see us, and they actually did a couple of taste sessions, and there was a really good feedback from the those that was wanting to try it. And I just basically fell in love with the sport there and then. I've always been quite an active sports person in when I was from a very young age. And being then, even back then when I was able to kick a ball around before I stopped walking, being able to still be able to do that, but in a power chair in a more safe environment, and an environment where I didn't feel like I was being judged on my disability because of the way I ran, etc., was a great feeling. I've just fallen in love with power chair football since then. I've been involved now for 8 to 9 years, so quite a long time. I've seen the sport go from the Storms to then the Strike Forces being used alongside TV bullets. So I've seen the sport develop in a way, but not as much as some of the older players have done. Whether when they first started, it was chopped up car tyres. So I've seen quite a bit of from the Storms being used, so then all of a sudden the proper power chair football chairs, so was the Strike Forces being used in the National League and across the park, even to young players getting them is a really good thing to see. So I play for Hull and East Yorkshire Power Chair Football Club, I actually am the captain for the first team, which is the Electric Eels. We play in the Muscular Dystrophy UK Championship, which is the National League run by the WFA. And we also play in the North East Premiership, which is a regional league. We have around 15 to 20 players registered to the club, and we've been going now for nearly 9 years, so we're quite well established. What I find exciting about power chair football is the fact of the speed and the way the players can control the chairs, where we can do things such as a spin kick. And I think what excites me the most about power chair football is how much potential there is both on the pitch and off the pitch for the sport to grow and develop. Is huge. It's one of the fastest growing disability grassroots sports there is, and there's a reason for that, purely because of how much it can develop, how much potential there is there for it to grow beyond expectations. Memory for me that does stand out would be our first win in the National League. We're going back to 2016 now, so a few years ago, and it was our first season, and every single match, even though we was losing, was a team obviously was a bit disheartened, but it was a big learning curve that first season. We learned a hell of a lot. And that first match where we actually won, it was some graft. We worked so hard in training to develop as quick as we could, and because we were such a young team at the time with some young players, we wanted to be not forcing too much development down our necks. But as players, we was eager to develop. We wanted that first win. So our first win was obviously against Bolton Bullets, and even now we have it on video, and we'll look back to where we are now, and we think, wow, we've grown so much, we've developed so much as players, both on and off the field. The club itself has grown massively on and off the field. To achieve, obviously, you say this to any power chair football player. Obviously, their main aim is going to be to represent their country in the sport, and that is my aim. But I also have another aim, and it's something which I think the club is achieving. Is the fact that I want to be, we as a club want to be able to be in a position where we can continue to give disabled people in our region, of any age, of any genders, a chance to play this fantastic sport, whether it's at a competitive level or whether it's at a recreational level, where they can socialise with other players that have got a similar disabilities to themselves. It's about building that community. It's not just about the players, it's also about the families as well, so that they know that they're not alone. I admire quite a lot of players in the sport in England and internationally. If we look at England, I look at the likes of John Baldwin, Edward Commons. When we talk about John Baldwin, with me being a captain, I look at how he leads his team around the park, whether it's for Aspire or whether it's for the England Power Chair football team. He's such a great leader. He can, defensively, he's a very good player. And I play in the middle position as well. But also Edward Commons, because we're both roughly the same age, and this season just gone, I was playing quite a bit on the wing, so I was looking at his game. The way Ed Commons reads the game is phenomenal. The way he can get his chair onto angles on the pitch, it is it's mind blowing. It really is. But it's great to see that there's players I can admire. I mean, I could list the entire England team. I could mention Brad Bates, who made his debut for England this year alongside Greg Baxter. There's a lot of potential there for the England team to grow. But internationally, it's difficult. It's difficult for me to pin down exactly which players I like. As I could, it's easy enough for me to say I can pick a player out of each country and say I like that player because of a certain aspect that they do. My free time away from power chair football, I very, very rare try and take time away from power chair football because I'm the marketing and communications officer for the club. I'm always proactive in developing the club off the field, whether it's partnerships, sponsorships, etc. But in my spare time, something that people might not know is I actually love farming. And then I've got the machines, how crops are grown, etc. I've got friends who are farmers, and I'd spend a lot of time talking to them. Being in the countryside, I love massively. I find that more as like a respite, if that makes sense. Just purely because I've got nothing running in my mind. I don't have to be. My eyes aren't wandering all over the place, wondering what's that noise or what's that play, so etc. In the countryside, it's nice and peaceful. Being at the seaside, I love as well because a bit of fresh air is good for your system, innit? To be honest, good for your body, shall I say? But my heart's for 2020 is to hopefully get back training in a safe capacity. Back playing the sport I love. Working more on the mental health side of the sport. Trying to build upon my own mental health, which is something I have been doing more during this pandemic, is trying to understand my own mental health and understand that it's okay to have days where I'm maybe feeling down and feeling not happy, but I feel like from speaking to other people that I'm not alone. I'm not alone. That's the main thing. So I'd say I'd like to achieve what I'd like to achieve is to understand mental health a bit more and to get back playing power chair football. Thank you.
Last week we read a condolence message about the passing of Chris Reed, founder of the Smile for a Child charity. We did not know Chris personally, but we have since heard about all his great work, and a number of people would like to pay tribute to him here.
Last week we heard the tragic news that Chris Reed, the founder of the charity A Smile for a Child, had unexpectedly passed away. We first met Chris when he set up Middlesbrough Power Football Club in 2011. He came along to one of the taster sessions with his daughter Lauren and her Paralympic torch. Chris's motto in life was impossible is nothing. It was a motto that he truly lived by. Chris Reed not only helped disabled children take part in sport, but he also gave them the opportunity to experience things they never would have otherwise. Along with the many bucket collections, Chris also did many other fundraisers. These included the Great North Run, the London Marathon, the New York Marathon, even the Great Wall of China Marathon. He would also set up a yearly North Sea dip to help raise funds for the charity. Even if you've never met Chris, you are likely to have heard of him, or heard of his many antics. He was a true gentleman, and he will be sorely missed by everyone. Chris made a difference to so many people's lives, and here are some of those people.
Thank you, Chris, for everything you've done for me and all the other children. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have had the opportunity to play sports with our friends, and I wouldn't have had the chance to walk. I am going to miss you and doing the underground collections for A Smile for a Child. Your charity was amazing, and more than just a charity. We are one big charity family who love you loads. Impossible is nothing.
What can I say about Chris? He's probably one of the kindest men I've ever met. I've had the privilege of working with him, with his charity Smile for a Child, collecting, and I can honestly say it has been an honour. He has supported our football club, Dalton Power Chair Football, since it started, pretty much. And I can honestly say that without him, we probably wouldn't have gotten the club off the ground. His generosity truly knew no bounds. And as we got to know each other, we became really close friends. It's been an honour and a privilege to know the guy, and he will be sorely missed.
For us as a family, Chris meant so much. He was such a genuine and kind man that was always thinking of others, not to mention his silly sense of humour. Chris made such a difference to so many people. For us, he helped fundraise for 2 pieces of equipment that made a huge difference to Kizzy's life. We love Chris and all what his charity was about, and so we helped fundraise for him. And he helped us to show Kizzy that helping others and giving back in life is so important, very, very rewarding. We spent the last few days looking at photographs of our time spent with Chris and the charity. It was clear to see that we have met and made some amazing friends, both through fundraising for the charity and the days out Chris has organised. Chris and his family will always have a special place in our hearts. Hearing the news of his passing has devastated us. We'll always treasure the memories we had with him and those he helped to make. Rest in peace, Chris. You'll never be forgotten.
Kiss either and the battle for the title make a party football team come to. Got to kiss and everybody got to meet it.
Chris, what can I say? The world lost the light the day you left. You were always happy to help whoever needed it, with a smile on your face and a bucket in your hand.
We will never forget your kindness and generosity, and your funny games on the long days collecting. We'll miss you.
I was shocked and devastated to hear the passing of Chris Reed from Smile for a Child. He had devoted some time towards helping raise some money for me and my team Spire to go to the Champions League in August in Switzerland. I'd also worked quite closely with the charity, doing multiple collections at many train stations, including his big one that he does every year at Canary Wharf. Chris gave up a lot of time to help people who were in need. He was so lovely and amazing, and there's not many other people like him around. My thoughts are with his wife and 2 children and foster child.
I met Chris many years ago via Middlesbrough Power Chair Football Club. My daughter Jessica played for one of their teams, and I remember Chris was at training one night and we were introduced. I knew instantly he was a force of nature. His determination to help others shone through. Chris was dedicated to improving the lives of others. It was clear his purpose each day was to try and make the world a better place. Where there were obstacles, Chris would always find solutions. As a family, we were inspired. We took part in the annual A Smile for a Child Santa Dips many times. My eldest daughter and I completed Fright Hike, a nighttime trek to try and raise money for the charity. In 2017, my eldest 2 children trained and completed the Great North Run on behalf of the charity. Knowing Chris was an absolute privilege. His friendship knew no bounds, and he was always supportive and kind. His loss is huge, and it feels as if a bright light has gone out. The world will be a much darker place without him, but his legacy will live on, and we will continue to do all we can to support Chris's family and A Smile for a Child.
It's not often you meet people like Chris, people so dedicated to spending their time here bettering the lives of others. He was a shining example of everything that is good about humanity. Kind, selfless, passionate, and exceedingly generous. He inspired me to do my bit to help, so I trained for and took part in activities I never would have thought myself capable of. Half marathon and a 17-kilometre hike through Sherwood Forest at night. It's a privilege to be involved in such an amazing cause. Chris truly was an outstanding man who touched the lives of so many. He'll be missed greatly, and we'll make sure that his legacy lives on.
Not only did his life's work profoundly affect those that his charity supported, but it also affected those around him in a general sense. His kindness inspired others to adhere to the same values. Chris made and still makes me want to be better, to do more, to spend my time just like he did, helping those that need it most. He inspires me to be a better man, and I will continue to spread that same energy to those close to me, so that Chris's life's work and legacy lives on.
Chris was an absolute inspiration for our family. He supported us to pay for physio when no one else would. He transformed our garden into a fantastic, safe place to play. He arranged for a great day at St George's Park for the boys and their Middlesbrough Power Chair football team. And we thoroughly enjoyed every single charity collection, fundraiser, run or race night we did with him, and we will continue to do those to carry on his legacy. He was an absolute hero and we'll miss him so much.
I just want to say thank you to Chris for giving me my own power chair and for the amazing work he's done for the power chair football community. And I'm also, every time I score a goal, I'm going to think of Chris.
I first met Chris when I made contact with him to ask if his charity could help with our newly formed Power Chair Football Club in Middlesbrough. That's nearly 10 years ago now. And the rest, as they say, is history. I first helped out with one of his bucket collections at a local supermarket, as he'd so generously helped us. He never said no when I asked him to help so many different people with raising funds for various pieces of equipment or activities, sometimes tens of thousands of pounds. Usually there was some sort of daft event involved too. Talking of daft events, I never did get round to organising a North Sea dip in the summer as I promised. A summer dip for those of us who probably should have been sponsored just to be out in the cold when we came to support Chris and his dippers every December. So I've said it now for all to hear. Watch this space. Chris became a close friend. I'll miss his posts on social media, often food related, and meeting for lunch to put the world to rights. I'll miss his infectious buzz and enthusiasm, which ultimately came from his drive to help others. He had this way about him that kind of made you want to please him and be silly. You wanted him to be proud of you, so you gave it your all because you knew that he would. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't like getting up at 5 AM in Arctic temperatures. But when you arrived at the tube station for 7 and Chris was literally buzzing that you got there for the start, it was totally worth it. His enthusiasm was infectious. You'd often see volunteers, including many of the children he'd helped, at a collection in a cold, dark, busy underground station, grinning from ear to ear, because Chris made you feel like that. One of my more recent memories was when Chris asked me, Kaz and Matty to do the collection at the North Greenwich tube station on the night of the Kiss concert at the O2. I got Kaz to paint our faces with the various designs of the Kiss band members and sent the photo to Chris. He wasn't even there, but you could feel the buzz. That's what Chris did to you. Chris really cared about every individual. He was fun, energetic, sometimes annoying, but most of all, he was kind, and I'll miss him.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Remember, get in contact with EPFA News at the email below, and until next time, take care.